What up? Welcome back to Redhead MMA. I know in my last video I said I would have a UFC Freedom 250 post card matchmaking video, but I decided to delay that to Saturday and Saturday afternoon and do this not matchmake, do this predictions video for UFC Fight Night Kape versus Horiguchi. And instead of doing a matchmaking for the full card, I'm just gonna do sorry, what I think will be best for Justin Gaethje going forward and the options he has. So that video is gonna get revised a little bit, but for now, we've got this card, and I'm gonna be honest, it sucks pretty bad, but this is a really good main event. Cop versus the Gooch, Gyno versus the Gooch. It's going to be a sorry again, great main event but with a really, really weak rest of the card. Without further ado, let's start with our first matchup. Shane Collins versus Otari Tanzalovi. I don't know if I'm saying that name correctly, but I am going to go with Shane Collins. Yeah, Shane Collins by decision. Also, these stats aren't loading right now, which is really annoying. Um, this one, I'm not gonna lie, like isn't really decidable because they're both making their debuts now. They're keeping their tapologies. They're both finishers, but like they're so similar. I'm not gonna lie. Collins is in the ring more often, and Otari Tanzalovi just isn't. So for that reason, I'm gonna pick him. I really have no other reason. There's very little to go off of with these guys. I'm not watching their regional fights. I don't care about them enough to do that. Moving on. Oh yeah. So Shane Collins by decision. That's my choice. Don't really have much to say. That's just my choice. Moving up the card, Carol Rosa versus Luana Santos. And I'm gonna go with Luana Santos by decision. She has an actually pretty good recent win in Melissa Croden. Um, I'm just as surprised as you are that I know who that is, but I actually have watched all of her fights in the UFC. Weirdly enough, um, Luana Santos, a pretty good grappler, and she's two loss. I could have sworn she only had one loss. My bad. Sorry. She's lost twice. Carol Rosa's lost 7 times. And let's talk about Carol Rosa for a second. She is the most inconsistent fighter ever, bro. She loses way more often than she should. It's practically win loss, win loss, win loss for her in recent years. And she has no wins that hold up currently. She has no good current wins in the UFC. So for that reason, I'm picking Luana Santos by decision. Moving up the card, we have Leon Shabazian versus Levin Shokeli. I again don't know if I'm saying that name correctly. Stats still aren't loading for this one. That's great. And despite the fact that Leon Shabazian is posed in the most awkward way and looks built like a twig in this photo, I am going to go with Leon Shabazian by round one submission. And I was going to pick Levin. I'm going to call him that, Levon Levin. I'm just going to refer to him as that for the rest of my time talking about this fight. I was going to pick him to win this fight, but Leon Shabazian is like significantly taller. Like Leon Shabazian is a tall welterweight. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, he's 6'4". Um, and Levani's like a slightly, actually, pretty typical height, maybe a little bit lower than normal welterweight at 5'11". That height difference is ridiculous, and Leon Shabazian being a big grappler, being a big jujitsu style fighter, and with that significantly bigger frame, I think he's going to be able to get Levin down and just hold him there and eventually get the submission by the end of round one. It should be noted that Levin has experience in Bellator, and Leon Shabazian's highest level promotion is tough enough, and Bellator is obviously a better promotion than that. But I think the size difference in these guys is significant enough that I'll still choose Leon Shabazian for this fight. So, in the end, Leon Shabazian by round one submission for this fight. Moving up the card, we got Gaston Bolaños versus Michael Aswell Jr. And I'm going to go with Gaston Bolaños by decision. This fight was kind of hard to pick. I'm not going to lie because both of these guys suck ass. Michael Aswell Jr. gets decisioned, and Gaston Bolaños can seemingly only win by decision. So that's my main reasoning for picking Bolaños in this fight. Again, both of these guys suck. I wouldn't be surprised if Michael Aswell Jr. irks out like a split decision. There's so little to go off of here because they suck. And again, I really don't want to watch film on either of these guys. I can't lie. I mostly save that for main events, co-main events, actually good main card fights. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Gaston Bolaños by decision there. Moving up the card, Alan Nascimento versus Mitch Raposo. I'm gonna go with Alan Nascimento by round two submission. Nascimento is really good at BJJ, and I think he will be able to take down Mitch Raposo in the first round, smudge him a little bit, hold him there, get him tired, and in the second round, I could see a rear naked choke, a Darce choke, an anaconda choke, one of those coming from Alan Nascimento. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Alan Nascimento by round two submission in this fight. My bad for going through all these fights so quickly, by the way. There's like so little to go off. This card sucks. I'm sorry. This card's really not good. But moving up the card, here is actually a pretty good fighter in this fight. Bia Mosquito versus Melissa Mullins. I'm gonna go with Bia Mosquito by round one sub. My reasoning for this: Bia Mosquito is actually good. Mullins kind of isn't. Don't let the record fool you. She's not all that. Bia Mosquito has proven to be really, really good at BJJ, and Mullins has proven to not be so good at BJJ since I'm pretty sure she's lost every ADCC grappling match she's had. So I'm going to take Bia Mosquito by round one rear naked choke. That's been her specialty submission as her career has gone on in the UFC. So I think it's going to happen again here. Give me Bia Mosquito by round one submission. Moving up the card for the featured prelim, we have Andre Lima versus Kevin Borjas. And I'm going to go with Andre Lima by decision. I don't even know what to say about this one. Lima is 4-0 in the UFC. Borjas is 1-4 in the UFC. So there you go. I can see a 30-27 happening in this fight, but Andre Lima is kind of a split decision merchant. So I can see Kevin Borjas like weirdly making it competitive and making it a 29-28 or even like a split decision. So I would not be surprised if that happens, but my most likely guess is that Andre Lima is just gonna easily get his way to a unanimous decision. Don't let his record fool you. I just said that in the last fight about Melissa Mullins, but don't let Andre Lima's record fool you for real because he is not all that. I'm telling you. So, yeah, I'm going to go with Andre Lima by decision. Don't be surprised if Kevin Borjas makes it kind of interesting, weirdly enough. Moving on to the first fight of the main card, Vinicius Oliveira versus Andre Fili. Touchy Fili is washed up. I can see him keeping it kind of competitive, but I don't see Vinicius Oliveira losing this fight. Andre Fili's longest win streak in the UFC is 2, and Vinicius Oliveira, I think, is 4-1 in the UFC. So there you go. Oliveira's only loss in the UFC is to Mario Bautista, which has aged extremely well considering his fight with Umar Nurmagomedov being one of the closest fights Umar's ever had, things like that. That makes that loss age really well. So that's good for Vinicius Oliveira. And Oliveira has wins over Kyler Phillips, Ricky Simone, Saeed Nurmagomedov. Like these are good wins. Like these are decent to good wins. And um, you know what? The more I actually think about it, Andre Fili's not going to keep it competitive at all. Vinicius Oliveira is going to wipe the floor with Andre Fili the more I think about it. Give me a dominant 30-27 decision from Vinicius Oliveira in this fight. So yeah, Vinicius Oliveira by extremely dominant decision. Andre Fili should retire. Moving up the card, and I you may notice a pattern with a lot of decisions in this card. The and some submissions with no knockouts being predicted from me. The knockouts are going to start being predicted here, but I think this will be a decision heavy card. Moving up the card, we have let let me just butcher this name real quick. Melsik Bagdasarian versus Murtazali Magomedov. I'm going to call him Melsik and Magomedov for the purpose of not slowing down to say their names every single time. Usually, when a fighter is making their debut and they are fighting like a UFC vet, not this guy's like a super UFC vet, but he's had fights in the UFC. I'll go with the guy that's been in the UFC a lot of the time. I'm not going to do that this time. Magomedov's wins on the Russian regional scene, or maybe Kyrgyzstani regional scene. I don't know. The Eastern European regional scene. I'll say that uh, is his wins because I think he's 11-0. The UFC is getting so many of the statistics wrong for this card. So many of his wins in the Russian regional scene are against guys that actually had positive records and better records than he did as he was moving up, which is actually really impressive considering, there's this one guy that fought a bunch of cans as he worked his way up into the UFC and continued to fight cans. He was in the UFC. He ended up being 29-0, and some people call him the GOAT because of his last like 4 fights of his career. So I'll give Magomedov his props for actually fighting decent opponents on the regional scene. You may have heard of this guy, Khabib Nurmagomedov. I don't know, but he is a really good finisher, and this guy Mel 6 seems like more of a passive decisionator. It's not the best way I can really put it, so I'm gonna go with Magomedov. I can see a round 2 TKO happening. Just like a knockdown into some ground and pound. I can definitely see that happening for Marzali Magomedov. I'm going to go with a round 2 TKO for him against Melsik Bagdasarian. Moving up the card, Hyder Emil versus Christian Rodriguez. I'm going to go with Hyder Emil by decision. I have very little to say about this fight. Both of these guys are low key ass, but Emil, I think, can like squeeze a decision out in this one by getting a little crafty on the feet. In the words of Lucas Tracy. So yeah, Hyder Emil by decision, maybe a 29-28. I have so little to say about this fight. Moving up the card, Ion Kudalaba versus Navajo Sterling. Navajo Sterling by whatever he wants, but I'll say round 1 TKO here. Kudalaba has a negative win-loss record in the UFC. I believe he's 11-10, maybe 12-11, something like that. He has never fought anyone on the level of Navajo Sterling. They're feeding him to Navajo Sterling. And I'm not a huge Sterling fan. I respect him. I think he's really good. I'm not a huge fan of his. Navajo Sterling is going to murk Ion Kudalaba. Let me just say that. Sterling has momentum. He has the fact that he's undefeated, and that can make you feel invincible. And I think Kudalaba is going to realize that, and he just isn't going to be able to get it done against Navajo Sterling. So I am going to go with a round 1 knockout for Navajo Sterling in this fight. He's going to make quick work of Kudalaba. That's all I really have to say about this fight. Moving up to the main event, I spent so much time deliberating who I thought was going to win in this fight. And I was going back and forth. And I was really like, you know what? I'm going to pick the Gooch on this one. I'm doing it. But I ended up, I'm going to go with Manel Kape. Dude, I still am like doubting myself as I'm talking about it, but I'm gonna go with Manel Kape. The cop that fought the Gooch back when he was in Ryzen would still lose to Kyoji Horiguchi now, but Manel Kape has genuinely like evolved so much since then. Even in the last few years, he has evolved so much. He has been on a tear recently, bro. He knocked out Brandon Royval back in March, which the current champion Joshua Van couldn't do, and the champion before that, Alessandre Pantoja, the guy who literally was closing in on flyweight goat status, couldn't do it that either. Like both of those guys took Brandon Royval to a decision. Manel Cobb knocked him out in the first round. That's crazy. Um, but when you look on the other hand, Shoji Horiguchi only loses to like the best of the best in whatever promotion he's in. Besides that one loss against Patchy Mix, but that was when people thought Patchy Mix was good. So at the time, that was still like not a crazy loss. His only loss in the UFC is to Demetrius Johnson. That's nuts. Also Kasakura on Rise when he was tearing shit up. Like Kyoji Horiguchi is really good, dude. Like, oh my god, bro. This is actually so tough to choose. I can see this fight being really competitive to the very end, but I see Manel Cop getting a late KO TKO. Like just a right hand lands flush from Cop and it'll knock Yoji Horiguchi down and Cop will put the Gooch away with ground and pound. I'm thinking that a late round 3 KO TKO at the end of a really competitive fight. So there you go. Manel Cop by round 3 KO TKO. And that is my final pick. And yeah, that's the whole card. It really isn't good besides that main event, but the main event is really good. So I'll allow it. I will be watching this fight and I will give a immediate recap once it is done. I will This is coming out on Friday, and I will have the what I think should be next for Justin Gaethje out on Saturday afternoon, and then Saturday night I will have this video out. I'm gonna try to get videos out way more often. I want to get a bunch of videos per week, daily if I can. So be sure to watch all my videos as they come out. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed. If you want more MMA content, reactions, recaps, predictions, tier lists, I'll be getting into all of it. So again, thank you for watching, and that's about it. See you.